Dave, welcome to Product Growth Stories. I'm so excited to have you on the show today and to explore your role at Vroozi. And you have a really impressive track record. I think you have built at least 4 unicorn organizations. So I'm super excited to have you on and talk about it today.
Thank you so much for joining me, or allowing me to join you.
You're welcome. So can you share first, what drew you into Vroozi in the first place?
You bet. Their founder has become a friend, has become a business partner, and somebody who I have great respect for. Building a business is not easy. And seeing what he's been able to do for the last 12 years in building this business and growing this business, creating an incredible platform and solution set in an industry that is ripe for innovation. All are very important matters, obviously, when evaluating an organization to join. But really, do you trust the leadership? Do you trust your business partner? Do you trust that the opportunity is there for not only you to be able to bring tremendous value, but also is there learning? Is there growth? And can this be a mutually beneficial relationship for the business and the business partner, as well as for me? And so seeing what Shaz Khan has been able to create with his organization and with his customers, and the growth, the artificial intelligence and AI that they've invested in their solution, it is an incredible platform that I'm eager to shout from the rooftops and let the entire world know what Vroozi is, what it does, and why everybody needs to be on it.
I'm curious, I can relate to, there's nothing like working with people where the people are solid. It's other than the market, that's the next biggest factor. What were you excited to learn here? You mentioned learning as one of the reasons.
One thing is that Vroozi is a global organization. We currently service 18 different countries around the world. So being able to have a legitimate global offering is a tremendous opportunity. Some people don't enjoy that because of the different time zones and things of that nature. But with the different dynamics that many different countries play in the world economics is always something that's fascinated me. And I've loved cutting my chops on. And I've had the opportunity to work with different organizations in different continents and different countries, but not to this scale. That was very appealing, number one. Your question was, what was I excited to learn? You know, from an early stage business where Vroozi is to where they want to be, that's something that I've done, as you've mentioned multiple times. I've had the great to be able to experience growth at various stages, but those occurred in different roles and different capacities. I hadn't been able to do it as the true business leader and partner, as the president. And so having those responsibilities and that trust is tremendous. From the stage we are at to the stages where we want to be. So knowing how much Shaz and the organization and the investors trust me is a tremendous opportunity for me to put my skill sets, my experience, my relationships to work. And the goal is that the outcomes will be similar to what we've been able to create in the past.
Yeah. And so this time around, you get to wear a different hat. You're in a different role. And I'm curious, what do people misunderstand about the role of president? I know, especially if you're in the earlier stage of your journey, it's the founder is all the hats, right? And not everyone understands what value does the president bring? What do they do that the CEO can't do?
It's interesting you say, it's been explained to me one time that CEO stands for Chief Energy Officer. Where can the CEO, and in this case, the founder, put their energy best? Or what gives them the most positive energy? And so in this case, what Shaz, my business partner, has done phenomenally well is hire across the board, build an incredible platform, sell, support, raise funds, do all these things necessary to keep the business progressing forward. But in order to accelerate the growth and to scale at a rapid rate, which is what my professional expertise is, that's something that, to his own confession and humility and candor, has not done in his career. And so that's something that he's leaning on me to be able to do as his business partner, is to be able to execute the hyper growth, hyper scale in a way that is familiar to me, that is instinctful to me. And it's not that he can't do it or doesn't want to do it. It's he wants a business partner in me to be able to do it with him. So having that type of a partnership and that type of an interdependency allows us to really go farther. The old adage is you can go faster alone, but you can go farther together. And so that's what his vision is with me. Does he want to do it faster and better? Yes. And so I'm grateful that he's given me this opportunity.
It makes me think of the phrase like who, not how. If you want
Yeah.
to execute a play, especially as a CEO, you don't necessarily want to be doing it. You want to find the person who has the proven playbook that you can put on the team and to execute. And so you're saying, as in this case, as the president, you're responsible for handling the hyper growth and everything that entails.
Yeah, driving that, owning it, being responsible for it, creating the architecture for it, making sure that it's scalable, that it's profitable, that it's at the pace that we all desire. The stakeholders, our customers, of course, good for the business. It's not good for your customers. It's not good for the stakeholders. So all of that is a really important component, bringing it together, making sure that we do this in a very logical, intentional way. And so that entails making sure our current customers are very happy and are renewing. Therefore, they buy more solutions from us and want to invest their ideas with us and want to refer us to their peers, all of which is an incredible part of growth. Because it's one thing to be able to market well, have great messaging, have a great solution, yet if that customer experience isn't a great one, they're going to leave as fast as they came on board. So
You need those R's in the MRR. If they don't stay, it's not the same business model.
there you go, recurring revenue.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone has their own worldview. So as a marketer, to me, marketing is easy. And I think when I think about scaling a business, the hard part is, okay, can we retain the customers? Can we deliver? Can we actually grow an organization and have the culture stay, have it actually function well? Because as you know so well, like an ant can't be an elephant, right? Like at some point, it's very difficult to repeat the same processes that were working when you were smaller. How do you know when you need to basically kind of level up the entire way something that works? How do you know like when you need to leave behind the old methods as you're growing?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's a hard practice to execute because a lot of the OGs, the original gangstas, the old timers, the veterans who have been there the longest and who have kept the business alive, they're very proud and should be for the way in which the business is operated. But just because of tradition or past practices, make it right going forward. And so there are certain stages of an organization that become evident to everybody. And oftentimes the individuals will want to hold on to responsibilities, or they feel they need to be kingdom builders, or tenure means seniority. In fact, as you scale, and in order to scale, you actually need specialists, not generalists. And so one very important practice that I've brought to the businesses over the last several years is the practice of roles and responsibilities, making sure that we understand everybody's current role and responsibilities. It doesn't entail that their role will always stay the same, nor that their responsibilities are forever theirs. Just the opposite. It's important to identify who's doing what now, what gaps exist now, and in order to become a scalable and predictable organization, those gaps need to be filled. And it's not the generalist who's going to be able to do that. And in fact, it's the specialists who will come in and need to learn from those original employees or those current employees. How is it being done? We will decide as a leadership team, as a management level team, should we continue in this practice? And most organizations know that it's not a best in breed practice, whether that's manual entries of processes, whether that's still using a paper and pen instead of a CRM solution, if it's not automating solutions or systems and process, if they're not taking advantage of artificial intelligence. There are so many ways in which systems should and could come in, but the first step is making sure that we got the processes nailed down. And those processes are going to be reinvented and recreated possibly every year, every few years. But if you do it too often, it's chaos, and nobody wants to work in an environment of chaos. So really making sure that everybody has buy-in as to what we're going to be doing for the foreseeable future, training on that, having a scalable LMS system and process, knowing what their roles and responsibilities are, having an onboard program so that people know exactly what their job will be day one, week one, month one, Q1. Let them know what success looks like, what goals are expected, what the KPIs are, what the outcome.
I love it. And this, yeah, I don't know how you feel about this, but I have this feeling that the most important things are never sexy because only things that are exciting and sexy are somehow new. And by being new, they're like the least proven, whatever the current growth tactic or hack is. It's usually like the fundamentals, the most boring stuff that everyone knows already that we're not doing well that matter. And when I hear you talking about this, it sounds like absolute fundamentals of management. How's that land with you?
You're spot on. I think of the elite athletes, military personnel, or doctors and nurses. I think of those best hitters in baseball, and they're hitting off the tee every day before games. I've got a 16-year-old, and when he was 10, he's like, Dad, I don't want to hit on the tee. That's for little kids. That's t-ball. Well, in his mindset, he's correct. That was t-ball back in the day. Grown adults, professionals at the highest level of any sport or any profession must always begin with the fundamentals and execute the fundamentals. The other component of that is accountability. And leaders have to ensure that the fundamentals are being executed. And the way in which you can do that, there's a variety of ways. But you've got your one-on-ones, which should be taking place weekly or bi-weekly. You've got your team meetings, which should be taking place periodically. But what I have found to be great success is ensuring that the KPIs, which measure the fundamentals, are on the walls of the businesses, on monitors. What's the scoreboard? So that everybody knows, am I doing what's necessary to be successful in my role? And if so, that will generate success for the business. But accountability of ensuring that we're executing on the fundamentals of the business. And so that's a great way in which you can gamify, in which you can hold one-on-one meetings, is the use of data. And that requires technology. That requires at least spreadsheets and other things like that. If you're not at a stage in the business where, there you go, where maybe you can't afford visual reporting tools, but you've got to make sure, if it's a whiteboard and you're using markers.
You can go far with a whiteboard.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You should see what they do at a car manufacturing with just a whiteboard. You can run a factory.
There you go. There you go.
I'm curious, you've had so much experience with growth. I'd love to know from you, how has it changed, right? There's things that worked in the past that don't work now. Like, what's the main challenge you think that SaaS growth professionals are facing? What is hard about growing a SaaS in 2025?
As I think about that question, because I remember within an organization, it changed almost overnight. The grow at all cost model changed, where it was quickly, we need to have and must have rule of 40 for profitable growth and reasonable growth. We can all think of many different organizations that was pouring in millions and tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars on growth, yet they weren't profitable, or they didn't have the line of sight to profitability. And so now, with investors requiring that for nearly every SaaS organization, is this a sound investment? The measurement is rule of 40, the growth trajectory and the growth year-over-year rate, plus the EBITDA margin. And so adding those two together, can you meet or exceed 40? And so 40% growth with zero profitability, 40% profitability with 0% growth, or 20/20, or 60% growth with negative 20% EBITDA. Whatever that variable may be, ensuring that the rule of 40 is a metric that is agreed upon by the vast majority, if not all, investors and operators today. So that is a very big difference. I was just going to say that's a very big difference. Now you've got to ensure, do I have the right amount of marketers? Do I have the right amount of sales individuals? Do I have the right amount of customer success and customer support individuals? How about implementation? Can we support the demand that we're generating? Engineering, and that we've got our feature sets always on our roadmap so that our customers stay with us, which is called NRR, net retention revenue. and making sure the base also buys from us continually.
Got it. Yeah. And it sounds like you're talking about a way to balance the enterprise value, growing the enterprise value and revenue. So, like everyone talks about, oh, how much services should we have, for example? And this is a great way because obviously some services are not great for your enterprise value. So, you're talking about just like an overall blended growth.
You're exactly right. There were organizations where they'd waive all the setup fees and figure that they would be able to recoup them over time through all of the ARR that was booked. Well, that works if your customers stay and aren't churning. But how expensive and what are the margins, and can it really ever catch up? And so the practice of setup fees and one-time services, professional services, is a very important part of driving profitability. However, from a valuation of an organization, pro services gets a 1.5x valuation, whereas the ARR, the recurring revenue, that gets the multiples. Now, if you're renewing multiple times a customer, if you're in multiple industries, you've got multiple products on your platform, you're in multiple continents, then that is how you get really high multiples as opposed to a point solution product. And you're only focused on top line. So really this wise, reasonable, balanced growth in all different sectors is a very important part of today's business compared to yesteryears.
Yeah, it makes sense. That's a great thing. So many people have talked about this in different angles, and I love this overall investor lens. It's very clear. Love that. I'm curious, as we wrap up, what are you the most excited about in 2025 for Vroozi?
Artificial intelligence. When we think about our automated artificial intelligence and the impact that it's going to be having on our industry, on our customers, on our employees, AI is a game changer. It's just as the internet was back in the late 90s. And we are seeing that same impact where if you do not have a game plan, an investment plan to fully embrace, then how to message and articulate the value of what artificial intelligence can do for you and for your customers, then you're missing the boat and you're going to get lapped. And investors, it's a requirement now. What is your AI plan? And is it generative AI? Is it large language models? What is it? And we're seeing that AI is evolving seemingly every 2 or 3 months. And so making sure that you can invest in the future is imperative to make sure that your customers are buying a future-proof solution. And in the enterprise world, customers are wise. They're making every decision now at the enterprise level. The evaluation processes are so rigorous. The dollar values are so high that mistakes just cannot be made. One of those key elements in making decisions is, will this be a future-proof solution? Meaning, will this organization and this product be around in 5 and 7 and 10 years? We're going to be right back at where we are today in a few years at an RFP, wasting so much valuable time we could otherwise be reallocating. So like we are at Vroozi. And so I am ecstatic to see what our team has built. We're already ahead of the curve. We're ahead of the race, leading the pack in what we can offer. Automated invoicing and e-procurement, everything from sourcing to pay. It's a remarkable platform that we've created for the marketplace, and really hope that everybody out there who might be looking at a solution like this will consider Vroozi.
Thanks so much, Dave.
Thank you for having me. Great to be with you, John Michael.